In my channel, Français pour Expat, I usually talk about grammar, conjugation, or different aspects of the French language. But for this video, I wanted to do something different. I wanted to share my experience, not as a teacher, but as a student. Because I learned myself 3 languages, English, Spanish, and German. And really, it started the worst way possible. My name is Sebastian. I'm French teacher. I'm Swiss from Geneva. And I want to share, to give you some tips for learning a language, French or any other language. Some tips that were really useful for me. I'm Swiss, and in Switzerland, German is mandatory. But I really hated it. Well, to the point, I really believe that I sucked at languages, that I was just not able to learn languages. I used to tell my parents that I just didn't need languages. I lived in Geneva, we speak French, I will always live in Geneva, I don't need languages. The thing is, well, usually teachers suck. At school, because the teacher, they learn German, but they are not like real, like German speakers. And usually what they do, they just follow the program. They give lists of vocabulary and then exam, grades and all. So it was really bad. Also because, to me, German was kind of an ugly language, like rough, severe. I had absolutely no interest in the language. So until the age of 21 years old, then I would speak only French. But I also wanted to travel. So, English is really important, mandatory to travel. So I chose like the furthest destination I could choose. From Switzerland, I chose Australia. And then there I took 3 months classes. Already there, I noticed one thing, is that I knew already some vocabulary. And I didn't even know about it. But with computers, video games, I just picked some words. So I already had sense of English language without knowing it, and I learned quite fast and quite good. Well, if you understand me right, it means that I'm okay. Okay, so after like 3 months classes, I also traveled New Zealand and all, so I could practice, and really just I could speak fluently English. After that, I still wanted to travel. I wasn't really sure where to go, but by then it was really interesting because, due to my physical appearance, like brown, and I'm not tall, rather like medium short. Well, anyway, some people, they spoke to me spontaneously in Spanish. And I said, okay, that's the way to go. So I chose South America. And I started 1 month intensive class in Ecuador, in Quito. And I traveled in the continent, for pretty much a year. And I did very well. And I was really happy. I was happy with that. After that, back to Switzerland, I worked in the machine industry. I would travel really a lot for work, like installing machines. So I was still practicing languages. I was really, really happy with that. But after a few years, a Swiss-German company bought my company in Geneva. And I asked right away to be transferred to the headquarters. Because I said this time, okay, I have the opportunity to try again German. I really believed, German made me believe that I sucked at languages, which is not true. I proved that I can learn languages. So I want to try again. I went there, I worked for like a year and a half, and I learned German, but yeah, not so good. Not so good. I must say, I still make really many mistakes. I know, I can hear myself. I know I make mistakes. I still don't understand easily like movies or books. Anyway, I'm really proud of myself because I can handle conversation, even with mistakes, but I can handle conversation. And even by then, I could talk about really technical stuff. Okay, with grammar mistakes, but my colleagues really just understood me. So anyway, I'm really proud of myself. And even today, I still speak the language because with my students for French, well, with beginners, we need like a support language. So English, obviously, often Spanish, but I'm always happy to have German students because I can still practice with them. I know I make mistakes, but there is also a difference. If you can see really just the difference with my like learning periods. Obviously, the main difference is when I traveled, I went to school and I studied. I spent all my time studying. Like in Switzerland, so there I was working. I just didn't have the time or energy just to study the language. I really took only a few classes, but everything that I learned was just really just on the spot. So this is the main difference. But beside that, there are also some techniques that I know that I used when learning English and Spanish and that I didn't apply when learning German. And these are the techniques that I want to share with you now. So you can see here, well, the list. I know some points here might be intriguing, but okay, let me explain. First of all, the easiest, describe what you do. That's something really easy that you can do every day or several times a day. And the advantage is that you can really adjust the level of difficulty. If you are a beginner, just describe what you do now, present tense. I'm watching a movie, I'm recording a video. But then you can improve. Then past tense, what did I do today? I watched a movie, I recorded. And you can make things more interesting. I saw a movie, I liked this movie, it talked about this and that. The advantage is that you really learn the vocabulary that you need. If you describe what you do, there's a high chance that's the vocabulary that you can use in a conversation. List of vocabulary, usually half of it we really don't need. So with that, describing, you go directly to the vocabulary that you need. And then with that, it is writing, making sentences by writing that then you have somebody checking, correcting. Obviously, the best would be a teacher, but it can be like a friend or a colleague. So that's the same idea to like practice a little bit, but regularly, every day. And by writing, you really see like the problems, maybe articles, preposition, or how to, like accord them. So this is a good way to improve. After that is challenge yourself. Yes. When you learn something new, well, it's really easy to forget. The best way is to apply it, to use it as soon as possible. So challenge yourself in a sense that when you learn something new, try to use it with somebody as soon as possible. Because when you use it, you increase like really the chance of memorizing it. And then with that, there is also to like improve your vocabulary. It seems obvious. Well, we need vocabulary. But by that is really pick a topic and check really the words around that. And it really goes with the first advice, no? Like describe what you do. Don't describe always like every day the same thing. Then try to then focus on one aspect, one thing, and try to develop that and look for the vocabulary associated. And then there is also, don't be spontaneous. I know that's weird because that's what we want, right? We want to talk about whatever things in whatever situation. Well, yes. Don't be spontaneous while learning the language. It also goes with challenge yourself. Don't be spontaneous in the sense that anticipate, prepare conversation. It's really easy to talk about sports, movies, and music. Yeah, sure. But then try to talk with a friend or a colleague about something different. It might be economics or politics or culture or customs, whatever. But really just set the goal that you will talk about that and well, prepare in advance. So really look for the specific words. It's not spontaneous, but the person you're talking to anyway will not notice that. In the contrary, we really appreciate that you came well prepared. Then the conversation is much more pleasant. And the last one seems weird as well, but love the language. Learning a language is not just translating words. It is really just entering mentality, culture. You see, some words cannot be translated, or at least not exactly. It is around that, but not precisely, because people create words that they need. And different culture have different needs. So therefore, we cannot always translate. And with that, you really enter in all the culture. And that was really what was really missing for me. With German, it was only about learning words, but they never talk about, like countries and culture. So in my view, like German was like, ugly and rough, but no, German can actually be sweet and poetic. For instance, I also love to see movies, to know about the different topics, like what people are really interested or worried about. And also one thing, but that's okay, a higher level, that are comedians. It's really great to know the sense of humor, because really just jokes is not like international. It's always very specific. It can be, playing with words, or it can be some situation or certain topics. And learning that, you really learn, so the culture, the country, and the language is the door for that. Let me just give an example here. This is also a topic that I like. In French, I explain how to make a question. Because actually in French, there are 3 different ways to make the same question. What are you doing? In French, it can be que fais-tu? Qu'est-ce que tu fais? Tu fais quoi? But if you look in Google Translate, anyway, all three will be what are you doing? But French speaker, we are sensitive to that. We know the differences. So then usually the answer will be different. And if you just don't know that, or you just translate it, you don't catch that. And this is really part of like mentality, because French needed to create three different ways, but not all the culture, not all the languages. Another example also, like French invented verlan. Verlan is you took a word and you change the order of syllables. At first, it seems to be completely different words, and if you look in the dictionary, you don't find it. Like French rappers, they use it a lot. So by learning that, you become part of like the community. You really understand French as French people and not as a student. So by that's what I mean, like love the language is really find an interest in the language, well, the country, the culture. So I'm still a student, so I still take classes. I want to improve my German. So if you have any tips, if you have any techniques that really works for you for learning a language, please tell me in the comments. I'll be happy to read them and we can share our advancements in the process. Goodbye. See you soon.